All right, so now I am going to play the audio version of the story. So follow along and see or check your answers.
Page 85, Exercise 3A.
Rosa wants to return the camera that she bought and get a refund. She is told that she needs to speak with someone in customer service. The clerk there asks Rosa if the camera is defective, and she says it isn't. The clerk tells her about the store policy for returns and exchanges. It's too late for Rosa to return the camera, but she can exchange it if the merchandise is in perfect condition. Rosa still has the camera box with the instruction book and the warranty card. Since Rosa is in a hurry, she decides to get a store credit, and she will use it at a later time.
Okay. Now, let me ask, who does Rosa hope to come with next time? Who does Rosa hope to come with next time? Or who does Rosa want to come with next time? So the answer is her nephew, but if we make a complete sentence, we can say, Rosa hopes to come with her nephew next time. Rosa hopes to come with her nephew next time. And if you remember from the listening, she says that her nephew knows a lot about cameras. He knows a lot about cameras. Okay, so now let's take a look at exercise B, discuss. Now, let's take a look at number 1. What are some reasons that people may want to return merchandise to a store? So think about some reasons, and you can discuss the reasons with someone in your family if you want. But as I mentioned, you can also just practice on your own. And go ahead and complete, let's see, hold on just a second. Actually, let me go ahead and read the next 2 questions. So number 2, what are some situations where it may be impossible to return merchandise? What are some situations where it may be impossible to return merchandise? And then number 3, do you think people should get a refund for something they have used? Why or why not? Okay, so you can pause the video here as well and practice these questions or discuss these questions with someone in your family, or of course, as I mentioned, you can go ahead and do it on your own. Okay. Okay, so welcome back. And for number 1, of course, I'm sure you had a lot of, or I'm sure there were many many kinds of sentences. But you might say that people may want to return merchandise because it is defective. That was one of the vocabulary words we learned from this unit so far. So defective means that there's something wrong with the product. And we could also say that people may want to return merchandise because it's not what they expected. So for example, it might be too difficult to use, or in Rosa's case, the screen is too small. The screen was too small. And if you buy clothing online, then maybe the fit is not what you expected. So those are some reasons that you might return merchandise. Now let's take a look at number 2. What are some situations where it may be impossible to return merchandise? So as we heard in the audio, in Rosa's case, she couldn't return the merchandise, or she couldn't return the camera because the store policy said that, or stated that she had to bring the camera within 10 days, but the time frame expired. So we could say it may be impossible to return merchandise if it is past the stated time frame. And we can also say, it's too late to return the merchandise. Or we could also say that it may be impossible to return merchandise if the warranty is expired, or if it is in poor condition, because sometimes people use it and they damage it. So of course, in those cases, you can't return it. Unless, of course, you are taking it to Costco. I heard that Costco basically accepts any product in any condition, and they give you a really, really long time frame. In fact, I don't think there's an expiration for bringing an item back to Costco. They are very generous with their return policy. Okay. And then number 3, do you think people should get a refund for something they have used? Why or why not? So you might have different opinions on this, or you might think that it depends on the situation. So in Rosa's case, she used it, but she didn't use it much. She only used it once or twice. So it was still in very good condition. So of course, stores will still honor a refund for customers who aren't satisfied with a product after trying it just like a couple of times. So in most cases, I don't think it's unfair to get a refund for something that someone has only used once or twice. Now, of course, depending on the item, it might not be a good idea to get a refund or to give a refund if the customer brings back something like shoes, because with shoes, obviously, even just wearing them once outside will make a big difference in the appearance and the cleanliness of the shoe. So of course it's going to get dirty even if you wear it once. So maybe shoes shoes wouldn't be something you should get a refund for. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and look at the next page. So page 86. Now, this curriculum, this digital format does not have the workbook. It just has our students' book. So we are going to just use our students' book. But actually, you know what? I forgot to do this one. Okay, so let me see. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, so if you look here, this is not from our workbook. These are just extra activities that we have access to as teachers. But we're going to do some exercises from these worksheets. So let's take a look at this exercise first, okay? So it says, write a word that has the same meaning as the words in italics. And the word italics, by the way, just as you can see, it looks like it's leaning. And so italics just means words that are leaning. Okay, so let's take a look at number 1. Could I get my money back? Okay, so the words in italics are this part right here where it says get my money back. Oops, hold on, sorry about that. You know what? Let me highlight it. I can highlight it. So get my money back. There we go. So get my money back is in italics, and as you can see, the same meaning as this phrase is refund. Get a refund. So let's take a look at number 2. I'd like to give back this camera. I'd like to give back this camera. So there's a hint here. The word ends with an N. Actually, you know what? Let me give you some time to go ahead and complete this activity. So let's go. Let me just highlight each of these for you. Okay, there we go. So these words are from your student's book. So if you need to, you can go back to your book and if you need help. So go ahead and take some time to complete this activity. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. I'd like to give back this camera. So you could say return. Actually, let me see if I can type this here. Okay, yeah, I can, but the N is already there. So hold on, let's see. Yeah, but anyway, the answer is return. And then let me move this over here. Okay, and then number 3, when did you buy it? So this one, the answer is purchase. Okay, when did you purchase it? Number 4, what kind of product did you buy? So what kind of merchandise did you buy? So merchandise and product are the same thing. And then number 5, this device does not work. Okay, so there's a problem with it. It's defective. So we can say this device is defective. Okay, and then finally number 6, this is the store rule. And this one should be policy. This is the store policy. In fact, the words are all here in exercise B, which we are going to do next. So let's go down and let's see. Let me see if you can. All right. So hopefully you can see the. Yeah, there we go. Well, you just have to complete the conversation with the words in the box, and you should be able to see the whole conversation. Yep. Okay, so go ahead and take some time to complete this conversation. Okay, so if you're not finished, then of course you can pause the video and complete it and continue when you're finished. But let's take a look at the conversation. Excuse me, is this customer service? Yes, how can I help you? I'd like to, and this should be return. I'd like to return this smartphone. I'm not interested in an exchange. Is it defective? No, it works fine, but it's just too complicated. Are you sure you don't want to exchange it for a different smartphone? No, thanks. Could I get a return, please? By the way, I want to explain, I'm sorry, it shouldn't be return. It should be refund. Could I get a refund, please? Okay, and the difference between return and refund is that when we use refund, we say, oops, hold on just a second. Okay, let me try that again. So return, when we return an item, of course, it means we get a refund. But the way we use those phrases is just a little different. So when we say return, we use to. So I'd like to return. We don't say I'd like to refund. The customer says, I'd like to return the item. With refund, we use get a refund. Now, if you remember from our level 3 class, if you were in my level 3 class, we talked about collocations with get or take. So there are so many phrases in the English language that use get plus something, like a verb, or get plus adjective. So for example, like get married, that's very common. We don't really say, I married 3 years ago. We use get, so I got married 3 years ago. And in this case too, refund, we don't say, I'd like to refund, please. It doesn't make sense. So we just say, could I get a refund, please? So I know sometimes those two words are used in the same way, which is true. We do use it for the same situation, but the phrasing is a little different. Okay, so let's take a look at the next sentence. I'm sorry, we don't give cash refunds. It's the store policy. Oops, that's weird. Let me make this bigger and bring it up a little bit. So, oops, so as you can see, I am getting used to doing this lesson, doing the lesson like this. So please bear with me. Please be patient with me. Okay. And then I see, well, please give me a store credit instead. Now, let me explain something here as well. Credit is not really a countable noun. Sometimes it can be, but in this case, we don't really have to say a store credit. In fact, in most cases, you will probably hear people just say, please give me store credit instead of a store credit. So just keep that in mind. Okay, finally, could you please fill out this returned merchandise form? Okay, let's see. Okay, and then let's look at exercise C. Think of a situation when you returned something to a store. Okay, complete the chart. So let's go ahead and take some time to do this activity. So same thing, you can pause the video and practice. Okay. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to think of a time when I returned something, but I can't think of anything right now. Okay, so in my experience, I bought a face mask from Amazon, but not the kind that you tuck behind your ears, but it was a big plastic face screen for my mom. I bought it for my mom. And I returned it because my mom said that it was too wide on the sides. So she felt that it wasn't very protective. So I bought it from Amazon and I submitted a return request. So let me see what happened. Well, the seller asked me why I was returning it and told me that the product should be fine and it's supposed to be wide. So that was a little surprising because in a lot of cases, in most cases, Amazon doesn't really, well, it depends on the seller, but Amazon doesn't always ask for a reason and it just issues the refund. So did I like the store's return policy? Not really, because Amazon also has a satisfaction guarantee kind of policy, so that you can return the product even if you're just not happy with it. So I didn't really like the policy, but I think that it's a fair question, of course. So a lot of stores have a no questions asked policy as well. Of course, that's the most convenient for the customers because they can just return anything without being asked for the reason why you're returning it. But let's go ahead and look at our student's book again on page 86.